award-winning Tennessee WildCast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Jason Harmon, and this is Tennessee WildCast. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Excited about today's show. We are at Mid-South Shooter Supply in Clarksville, and as you can see around me, we've got a lot of animals in the room here. We're in one of the offices here, and it's going to be a fun show. We were with Hee Haw and Dirt, so I'll rephrase that, with Miss Connie King, one of our commissioners, and David, her husband. So it's going to be a fun show, and I appreciate you guys having us.
Thank you. We're glad to have you.
How'd you get Hee Haw?
Well, my oldest grandchild, she decided, we don't really know for sure, but now the big van you drove in here, I had a van when she was born, and I'd sing to her, and because I'd strap her in the back. And one of the songs I always sang was, "I'm an old cowhand from the Rio Grande," and at the end I'd go, "Hee-haw." So I think we think that's where it came from. The rest of them picked it up. We have 6, and that's what I go by.
I love it. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
You know, you've been on the commission a while, and I hadn't heard Hee-haw, so and I know it's your birthday quite often.
Yeah, you've heard about birthdays, just not the grandmama name.
I love it. And Dirt,
yes,
I appreciate you being with us. Thank you for coming on.
Well,
today.
I didn't know I was going to be here, but I'm glad you got me. It looks like we're going to have a lot of fun, actually.
We're going to always have fun. That's what WildCast is about. I know you're a hoot, and you love to have fun. So
well, the truth of the matter is, the reason my mother hated me, that's why they call me Dirt.
Oh, it's not true. She would be so upset with him for saying that.
No, I was a rock and roll singer for a long time, and I happened to get that up on the road and never got rid of it.
Yeah.
So,
you're into a lot of stuff. Keyboard, music, singing, like to hunt. You see in here in your office, it's got a lot of mounts, so it's cool to see. So we're going to get into all that, and I'm just excited to be here and happy to be here. So tell us about where we are, Connie. What's this business? Now, you're one of our commissioners, and then this is what you do daily. So
this is Dirt's office.
Okay.
So we have just decided to put most of his, or a lot of them in here, his mounts and things on the floor. There's things everywhere. Mm-hmm. But this is an office in our building, Mid-South Shooter Supply. We got a few things around in our home, but mostly everything is here. So it's just fun to come in and bring children, especially. Kids like to come. We don't necessarily do tours or anything, but when people ask, we will bring him in and let him see all his fun mounts. He's traveled all over and done a lot of things. A couple of them are mine, not many.
Yeah. Love to be outdoors. I know you like to fish quite a bit.
Yep, that's my main thing. Shotgun it and fish. I like to wing shoot. I'm looking forward to dove season. Duck, and then some of the other wing shooting we've been on.
Yeah.
Fun, that's me. But I'm really not a big game hunter that much. But enjoy any time. I mainly like to go and be with people and see their skills. But I don't do much the big game shooting.
Well, tell us about the business. How'd that get started? I think we were chatting before the show, and you said y'all purchased the company. But tell us what Mid-South Shooter Supply, what y'all do? What do y'all do?
Well, we're a mail order for shooting supplies. I guess I can throw that to you because I came to help him. That I worked at the time at a nonprofit that I loved, didn't think they could ever do without me. And he asked me, could I help him just while they got the business going, all that, and I agreed to help a couple of days a week. Well, that didn't last long. The next thing you know, I'm full time.
He couldn't live without you.
Right. But he was in business a long time before we worked together. The one thing I remember about us working together, me going to work with him or for him, was a friend of his dearest friend, said to me, Connie, you're going to see a side of him you didn't know existed if you go and work the business. And I said, there's nothing about him I don't know, but I learned. It was kind of eye-opening, but also a tremendous amount of respect to see his skill in the industry and how much he was respected in the industry. He'd been at it a long time before we bought this. So you just tell the history.
Well, let me say this about this room. Some people would look at it and say, well, what are you doing with all that? We have a multitude of vendors come in here and meet with our crew upstairs, all our buyers, the whole gamut. So, and it's, of course, this room is top dead center in their businesses. Yeah. So it's obviously, when they come in here, everybody knows they're at home. That's very important to us because the shooting industry is about the combination of abilities, but more so, it's about all the connections you have with people in the industry. You can't get product, you can't sell it. Mm-hmm. If you can't buy it right, you can't sell it right. So this room is really important to the core of our business. When Connie was talking about her going to work for me, that's not exactly right, but you knew that. But we have had a really good time. It's been an excellent ride. It's all about our employees. It's not about us anymore.
That's true.
We've got people that have started with us when they were 16 and they're 40. I mean, it's 20, over 25. We just had a 50-year anniversary of our marriage and the business, and
that's cool.
I was actually astounded just when I go through and look at all the kids that have been here and how many of them are still here. It's a true shock. Mm-hmm. So back to you, Commissioner.
Well, the business was in East Tennessee, started by Walter Hawk.
Okay.
It's his name. He came to our party. We had our party last year, and he got to come, and we got to introduce him to people. But he started in his home, right?
Garage.
It was in his garage,
wow.
and then it's too long a story to get into, but we ended up buying it, or Dirt did, and they moved there for 6 weeks to learn all the ins and outs, because we hadn't really done mail order, mainly retail.
Okay.
And so, is that right? You've
That's
done
right.
you've done some mail order. But so they moved there, and then they came down and worked with us for 6 more weeks, and we moved the business. I think it was 1995. We were trying to remember today.
Yeah,
95, we moved it, and our first location was on the north side of town. We were there for 5 years, and we moved to another location for 5 more years. We bought this building 2005 and plan to be here. We've got a couple of warehouses that we've got 11 acres here, so
wow.
we've been able to expand. The business has grown, and like he said, it's a great business. One of my favorite things is when we first bought it, and it was all on the phone. Everything was on the phone. There wasn't the computers, and so I got to talk to so many fun people all over the United States, and even we sold it in 37 different countries, I think.
Wow.
So, of course, I didn't talk to them as much, but
It's kind of hard.
I met some of on the phone. We became friends on the phone, and then they'd come hunt.
That's right.
Or we'd go visit them. And it's just a neat industry when everybody you talk to nearly, I mean, there was a couple of kind of weirdness, but everybody we talked to had the same sort of lifestyle or mindset or the love of the outdoors, love of the shooting sports, just good people. So that was fun for me to, get to talk and interact with people
Definitely.
that are like-minded.
Yeah.
So that was a neat thing about
definitely.
the business. So now it's mainly on the computer. People order online. I think 95% now.
Thereabouts.
Is it midsouthshootersupply.com? Is that how you find your products? Yeah, and it's amazing. Not all your customers are probably. Not all of them are hunters. Some of them may just be recreational
right.
shooters.
Absolutely.
Like to reload and that kind of thing. And
in fact, that's our biggest niche is the reloaders.
Yeah.
So they're just shooters on the range every weekend, shooting lots and lots of ammo. They like to reload their own because they're very particular about what they're shooting. Maybe tournament shooters or.
They are.
And the impact of those sales is tremendous for the agency. All those dollars come back, the sales tax and things, those dollars come back to us through our sales of licenses and things. So that's
and then
that's
too,
great.
we get to promote a lot of the shooting teams. We're the sole sponsor for one team here in Clarksville. We try to do locally.
Is that the SCTP team?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It would be great if we could sponsor every team in America.
I'm sure they would love it.
But we can't do that. We can help them by selling some stuff at good prices and all that. But as far as the sponsoring, we try to sponsor a lot of the shooters, the young shooters, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, give it back, pass it on.
That's right.
That was one of my thoughts
That's
I wanted
right.
to bring up. Who introduced you all to the outdoors? Maybe Dirt got you going. I don't know, but who?
You want to go first?
I did.
Well, no, wait a minute.
Okay, well, tell it.
I grew up on a family farm.
Okay.
Three girls. There's 3 of us. I was the middle sister. My older sister, it's only a couple of years older than I. We rode our bikes all around our farm and pond fished.
Okay.
For brim, we would use grasshoppers or dig worms, and we caught brim, and then we'd shoot our BB guns and that sort of thing. My dad did quail hunt, but he'd pack me. I couldn't hardly keep up. But I didn't get introduced to shooting until him,
Yeah.
or bass fishing, just brim. And Dad would take us to Reelfoot Lake. We lived fairly close to
Yeah.
Reelfoot, so he'd take us to Reelfoot, and we'd brim. His favorite was brim fishing.
Oh, yeah.
So, but then when he and I started dating, he introduced me to bass fishing, and I can remember thinking, what, do you just pull that through the water? I mean, I'm used to sitting there with my floating cane pole. And then he introduced me to all the shooting sports, or at the time, you didn't even shoot sports, did you? I mean,
No,
you didn't.
no, I always hunted. I didn't start shooting any targets until we got into this business, and this business is predicated on the ability to be accurate.
Yeah.
So we spent an enormous amount of time. But when we started, I was a road musician. Her family didn't really think much of me.
With a
Now
name
he's
like Dirt,
Now
you
he's
know.
insulting my mother.
but I was playing at night, so that gave me days.
Yeah.
And so then we did a lot of hunting and fishing, and then subsequently she ran Buchanan Boat Dock, and I was a guide there for 10 years, both hunting and fishing. And then just because I was doing that and the people that I met, that's how we ended up here. It's a long, very convoluted story, but the essence is just fishing on that Kentucky lake brought all this together.
Yeah. So you've been doing it a long time,
Yeah.
whether it's hunting, fishing. So you had a show.
I did.
And you guided on Kentucky Lake and other places?
I started when I was Billy Dyer booked me the first day when I was 13, and I was there until 70-something. She has to do the
We
dates.
moved
I
in
don't-
76.
Okay, well, I don't do dates.
We moved to Clarksville in 76.
I do rod and reel, and I can do guns, but I don't do dates. So it's been a really fun ride. I don't know how many countries we've done shows in or we've been hunting in now, but it's lots.
Wow.
Most of Europe, of course, Australia, New Zealand, Alaska, not everywhere around. It's been a real trip. And
Well, I think when he first started guiding at Kentucky Lake, he would guide during the day and play music in Nashville. And then it was a long way from there because we didn't have the interstate or anything. But I would drive him on Fridays or Saturdays if he played, wherever he played. I would drive him so he could do his gig and then sleep on the way back home so that he could fish the next morning.
the next morning,
We did that until we didn't have children, of course. You can do those things. So.
And when one of the nights got so long, we were playing at Woodmont Country Club, and she was our female singer for that.
There you go.
So she gets me back to the dock, and my people are already on the dock waiting for me. Well, my favorite thing was to get a Coca-Cola or a Pepsi or something and a Twinkie. Well, I was so tired I was walking down the hill at Buchanan's. I had that Twinkie in my mouth, walked right off the end of the dock, right out into the river.
Can you imagine what his people thought?
Oh, man.
But they went fishing. They got in the boat with
They
me.
did.
What are we getting into? Well, that's we talked about passing it on and things. So you've been passing on this tradition for a while with your guiding and things like that, and then now you've got kids and you're introducing them. Well, you had kids a while back, and now they got grandkids, and you're passing this on, the
They're
legacy of the
good
outdoors.
shooters. They're
Yeah.
good shooters.
Yeah, they're in the shooting sports. Now, of course, 3 college students now, and 3 that are in, 2 middle school, 1 grammar school, but they're learning, and the older ones, of course, have been shooting and hunting with us some.
Well, and the youngest one got a really, really nice deer.
Yeah.
I think it's 11 point, but
Wow.
it's a good deer too. It just wasn't 11 points.
Well, Weston did his 10. Yeah,
That's right,
they all
Weston.
shot big deer first, and it was not. It was like it doesn't always work.
They're
this way.
ruined, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, oh man, it took a while before I killed a decent
Yeah.
deer. So it's a
Well,
sport.
when you think about that, Jason, if you can see these 3 deer behind us, they came from LBL.
Yeah, that was the
Years
first year
ago.
LBL on the right.
Wow.
So probably about 76, we decided to about 78 probably.
Whenever it opened.
Which then it was a magnificent thing if anybody killed a deer, period. Everybody rushed. We lived at Buchanan's at the time, and it was just amazing. So when he came home with that first one that year, everybody came from miles around to see it. And you just think of the difference now of how that
Yeah, it's
was then and now with your
changed
deer.
a lot. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Tennessee with the new world record non-typical, the game has changed.
Tennessee is becoming a destination for
Right.
many things. I mean, we've got turkey, we've got deer.
Right.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's a great place to live.
Yeah, TWR has done an incredible job. The turkey situation is just off the wall great.
Yeah, there's so many. But,
Yeah.
well, tell us about why you wanted to be a commissioner, Miss Connie.
Well, okay, this is a kind of a different story.
Sure.
I didn't. I was asked to take the place of Julie Schuster.
Okay.
Because she was going to another job and had a few more months, I think 7 months to go, another commissioner.
Right.
And so when I received a phone call from Governor Sundquist's office to serve, I said, how long? And they said, well, about 6 or 7 months. I thought, oh, sure, I can do that. And really didn't understand. I knew some commissioners. I'd never been to a meeting. I didn't really know what all TWRA did. I just know I loved the outdoors and had learned a lot in business and thought, okay, maybe I can contribute a little bit.
Definitely.
So when I went to my first meeting, I mean, I didn't get orientation at that time. I just got put up there in front of everybody, and I was just like a deer in the headlights. I was like, what have I gotten into? I felt like I didn't know anything, and I didn't. Truth was, I didn't.
Yeah.
So I sat there quietly for about the first 2 years and listened and learned. And then they finally got to send me through some orientation with the newer commissioners came on.
So you
months
signed
later.
on another 5 years, 6 years, whatever.
Six.
Yeah.
6. I was asking, and I wasn't going to stay, truthfully, because he and I just got started where we were getting to travel and do a lot of things together. We had young people taking this over, and I didn't think I was going to do it. But then after I had been on those 6 months, I realized how long it takes to learn. I'm thinking just now where I could get a little maybe input. And so I didn't think it was fair to the agency either to have to go find somebody else, put them through all that confirmation. You have to go through all that stuff.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, I'll accept another appointment if they choose to give me one. I didn't know it was going to be 6 years. I thought maybe another 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But that has gone so fast. That was 2014. And look here, it's like I'm off. I'll rotate off in February of 21. So it was a surprise to me, but a good surprise.
Yeah.
And I learned, I've met so many great people. I have grown to respect the agency and everybody works there. And he can tell you if we're out and I get any kind of criticism, I can get a little... it upsets me a little bit when I hear some criticism. It's not fair.
Yeah, it's a little different when you're in it all day long. You know the behind the scenes and things that are going on, and it's you gain this love and this passion for what we're trying to do for the sportsmen and women of Tennessee. And
one of the favorite things I got to do as a commissioner is my sister is a science teacher, and she asked if I would come speak in 6th grade science. Her gave me the whole day in every class.
Wow.
And Don King provided me with that video.
Oh, yeah.
It was so good. And I used that and just were able to, she wanted me to tell them about our agency that does good for the environment, because they were studying in science how we as humans are such a detriment to the earth. And she said, I think they need a different perspective. So she asked me to come. It was so fun, and the kids were so receptive and just wanted to hear stuff and they were real involved. And I thought we need more of that to say we are an agency, or we're people that are contributing to conservation and not constantly, being a detriment to it. So that was a fun thing.
Yeah. I'm sure you've learned a lot, and then you've been able to contribute and like going to that class and helping educate, but also making some important decisions and a lot of things you have to deal with as a commissioner. It's very important and a very tough job.
It's been team, that's for sure, because being able to talk about the CWD's new. It was on since I've been on. The Asian carp became a huge issue. On the good side, the elk raffle.
It's gone well,
all that so there's some good things, but there's also been some really hard things. I'm just been part of the team and learning and being not taking the lead in some of that because I'm not a biologist but we have a great commission. I'm just proud of them all because everybody cares. Right. And everybody takes the time to get educated on what we don't know.
Understand education. They don't come in with an agenda, and it's not, it's there's biology behind it, so. We trust our biologists, right.
That doesn't mean we can't ask legitimate questions.
Exactly.
But we do trust them and know that we all have the same goal in mind.
Well, and it's very important that the public supports the commission, because in a lot of cases, the public doesn't know the whole story. And in a lot of cases cannot know the whole story. So they have to have a respect and a total trust in their commissioner, because they're making decisions outside of what they know.
Right.
So
well,
that's why I couldn't do it.
Well, you can support her, right?
He's awesome. He's awesome at helping me, because I can bounce stuff off of him. When I get a letter or an email or a phone call, I can ask him. And then his friends, especially. I mean, I have a lot friends that fish and all that,
yeah.
but especially the hunters that then I can ask them, tell me what you think about this. What's your viewpoint on that? That's important to have a connection with the people you're serving.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it's just.
Speaking of serving, what's your district? Are you statewide? I can't remember.
No, I'm District 6.
Okay.
Region 2, I've got 13 counties.
Okay.
It's real narrow.
But a lot of the commissioners are broken up into districts, like
Right.
you said, and then there's statewide. Some of them serve the whole state.
Well, I get good response, good emails, texts. I just think my group is really easy.
Yeah, you've had
I shouldn't say that.
Good group of counties.
I have, but that's the one thing I've tried to do as a commissioner is respond to every email or text or phone call.
Be available.
Yes, to be available. I mean, it may be as simple as I didn't get my magazine this year, making a phone call. So it's maybe that simple, or it may be very complex. And when it does, I reach out to whoever is, I'll call Bobby or just whoever and say, tell me where to go, get this answer. So at least I can do that much.
Yeah. Well, before we run out of time, I wanted to talk about some experiences outdoors. You love to fish, and you fish all around Tennessee, and you like to go offshore too. So
yes.
Talk about some of that. What's your favorite type of fishing?
Crappie and brim and red ear.
Okay.
That's really my favorite. As much as recently I got to catch my first tarpon. That was on my bucket list. But it's like, it wears me out. I can fish.
It's like a chore, yeah.
I want a little ultralight. I can just pull those brim and crappie in, and that's, to me, the most enjoyable I have. I mean, not that I would refuse any fishing. I love it all. But the small game, the freshwater, probably for me is my best. Now, my favorite story, I guess, was when we were first married. We took our, was it honeymoon? No, it wasn't honeymoon.
It was somebody else's honeymoon.
Can we tell this story now?
We went down to Florida camping, but we didn't have a camper. We were in the back of a pickup truck, and cold. It was so cold, but we went
29 degrees that day.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I threw this. He was teaching me to cast, actually, or teaching me to fish, and I threw this big old purple worm out there because he said, "I see it. There's a fish over there," and it's spawn season. Those lily pads, I see it. See if you can cast over there. Well, luckily I hit it. Next thing you know, it takes it. And my reel messes up. I get a backlash, and I'm into doing this, and he's screaming my orders, and we finally landed it. 12 pounds, 13 ounces. 12
Wow.
pounds. It's out there on the wall.
Largemouth, yeah?
Largemouth.
Okay. Wow.
So, I mean, it was
It
like...
had ice in the guides. It was the third week of February, 29 degrees, and it was on Lake Griffin, which is in the northern part of Florida. So, and it was cold.
Jason, what do you think he did with it? Put it on a stringer and put it over the side of the boat, and we kept fishing.
There were no live whales.
Oh, there wasn't live whales.
That's right.
And so I was scared to death a gator or a turtle or something was going to get with. So we finally got in. Anyway, yeah. And then after dragging it around all day,
It was a 13-plus fish.
Wow.
At that
sounds
same
like
day,
fun.
we caught several. I mean, that was one of those
Yeah,
days. It just
well, the 9s are no good anymore.
Yeah. Well, there's days, you're out there and you're catching great fish, and then there's days you don't catch anything. That's just part of it, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And then probably my biggest fishing buddy is Kim Wilson. And she and I fished, and we've had days that were just you dream of, and then days we just, drift around and talk.
Yeah.
But that's good too.
Yeah, that's
There's
fun
not
too.
a bad day on the water, really.
Any day on the water is a good day.
Right.
Well, this deer behind me, and I don't know if you can't see it on camera, we'll get it on camera, but
Yeah, it's in New Mexico.
tell us about this deer.
204/8, and we killed it on BLM. It was not on private ground. And the taxidermist and by the way, he's a score guy too, said it was the biggest deer he'd seen in New Mexico in like 20 years.
Wow.
On a BLM hunt, non-fence. And then this little booger bear behind you here, Steve Hornady and I were hunting in China, and that we camped at 13.9. We got way on up 16.5. I think I actually shot this one somewhere around 16, but that's a Tibetan blue sheep. And that little one up there, which is a 70-pound, which is, at 500-600 yards, is a pretty tough shot because he weighs 70-something pounds.
Little guy.
Yeah, and then, of course, like I was saying earlier, it's just tremendous that we had the opportunity to go to all these places.
Yeah.
That's Austria, Czech Republic, Africa, Asia, and so on. I mean, it's a tar from New Zealand. That's what a magnificent animal.
Yeah.
And that one just to the left of the tar is an ibex from Spain. And we were hunting where the Romans took their marble out of the wall. I was actually sitting on the marble.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we got to bird hunt there too.
Partridge.
Partridge hunt. Yeah. That was quite an experience.
Was it in a pear tree?
It was. I felt like I was in a pear tree. It was weird how it was a, what they call them, a driven hunt. So there's people in front of you driving the birds to you, and you're shooting out there, and they're saying shoot, and you're thinking there's people out there.
Just shoot up, right? It's like don't shoot the dog, don't shoot the
They had
person.
these flags they're beating. I was just like, that was a little intimidating.
Wow. Well, I'm sure you've got stories, all kinds of stories. This is amazing. Amazing that you got to go on all these trips and do these things. I mean, you've been blessed, and now you're
Absolutely.
being able to pass on the legacy of outdoors through the commission and through your operation here. And
well, I appreciate having served on the commission out, and it's an experience that really taught me a lot, and I've met some great people.
Yeah.
Awesome people.
Yeah, and happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you, Jason.
There's a running joke on the commission, and they like to wish Miss Connie a happy birthday.
That's true.
All the time. It's funny, but anyway.
It used to embarrass me, but not anymore. I like it.
Well, this has been fun. I appreciate you guys letting us come to your place and talk and chat. And
Well, we thank you.
Yeah.
You do a good job.
well, thank you. We're just trying to get the word out and let people know what we're doing at the agency. And
But you've had some
Opportunities in
interesting
Tennessee.
guests. Enjoy and keep it up.
yeah.
Keep it up. There's a lot
Thank
of people out there that we'd love to hear about.
Yeah. Well, we're going to do it. And if you got any ideas, send them my way. I'll be open to those. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in to Tennessee WildCast. And I want to thank Miss Hee Haw and Mr. Dirt here for joining me today. And we'll see you next time on Tennessee WildCast.
Hey, man, sounds like Tony Joe White.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee WildCast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.